sometimes you just got to put your foot down.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's really hard to do, especially with family, with parents. It's super hard to do. But being open to a conversation too. Yeah. So it's about how are you introducing this boundary? Are they just asking you a question like, no, I ain't hearing it.
Yeah.
Then that's not, that's not the most healthy way to introduce something. Like sometimes we got to like explain it a little bit. You owe that to yourself to say, hey, like this is my reasoning. I don't love you any less. I'm still here for you. But in this time, in this moment, this is the answer.
Yeah.
Will it change later? Maybe, probably not. But, like really just having those conversations and picking the right time to have the conversation too.
OG. Let go. All my niggas riding gas tank on full. We be fresh than a bitch. Yeah, your bitch might get pulled. I ain't got time for the bull. I ain't got time for the bull. Okay, all my niggas riding gas tank on full. We be fresh than a bitch. Yeah, your bitch might get pulled. If you see us in the streets, no talking, let's go. No time for hate.
Yo, what's good, man? It's your boy Riley, a.k.a. Riley the Great. You are now tuned in to another episode of the Millennial Mayhem Podcast.
Yes, sir.
We here.
As y'all know, I got my cousin Young Tony D with me. What's going on, G?
What's happening, dog?
Nothing, man. Chilling.
Hey, good day today.
Good day.
Beautiful out here in the H.
Yeah,
bro.
man. It is. It really is.
Look cool.
Yeah.
But it looks dope.
Yeah. Shit. We gonna get out there later on. I'm out there.
Indeed.
And we got the abominable light skin Young Ray Matthews. What's going on, bro?
Oh, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. Ready for action.
You ready for action?
Oh yeah, this
you
is a
ready
big
to jump
one.
into this?
Oh, it's a big one, so I'm ready for action, man.
Okay. We got a special guest in the building today.
Yeah.
Special guest. Introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, my name is Brianna, and I'm a therapist from Houston. I'm excited to be here and engage in the conversation with everybody.
That's what's up, man. We do appreciate you being here, man.
Tell them the name of your practice.
So I have two. One of them is called Pause Therapy. You can check me out at pausehome.com, and the other one is More Than Basic Therapy. So that's more local.
Okay, and we're gonna have all that in the description for the video and all the rest of that stuff. So y'all be sure to go check that out.
Definitely.
And also, since we on this right now, hey, those who are checking us out on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do that now. That'll help us out tremendously.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? But moving right along, man, we got a really good show for y'all today. Today, we're going to be talking about boundaries. That's what it is? Boundaries.
Anticlimactic every time we come up.
Boundaries.
I mean, I don't even know how to start that, bro. I gotta throw some little mix up on it. You know what I'm saying? Some little pizzazz on it. You feel me? There's only one word. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, shout out to that boy Jones and that boy Marcus.
Yeah.
They finally made it here to help us out today.
Finally showed up to
work.
work.
What I'm saying? Finally. You know what I'm saying? And missed the last couple of episodes, bro, because these are our guys that are in the background making sure everything is operating and functioning like it should.
Yeah.
And these last couple of episodes, they ain't been here. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I'm glad.
Sick.
Yeah. I'm glad they here today. Cause
No more sick days, bro.
Yeah.
You can use them all.
Yeah, bro.
No more PTO.
So, no more, nigga. We need y'all here, goddammit. You know what I'm saying?
We only in February, the niggas are using all up.
Hey, we appreciate y'all,
Man, we
boys.
appreciate y'all.
know.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all niggas still weak, but it's cool.
Boy, that's cold.
This nigga toxic, dog.
Boy, that's cold.
All right. Boundaries. Well, no. First, we gotta talk about.
I should say what led us to talking about boundaries.
Yeah.
A very beautiful young lady took her life. This past month. Was it last week?
Was it not?
I think it was last week. Former Miss USA, Cheslie Kryst.
Yep.
She was battling depression. Nobody knew, but her mom was very candid with, telling that part of the story. Many of us, we look at depression like somebody's supposed to always be down and just looking crazy. But she was a functioning depressed person, like highly functioning. Like she never said no. Like she was just on the go. Like even this past Miss Universe, she worked it. Like she was on it, and like she looked well. But you just never know what people going through, man.
Yeah. From what I read, she worked a lot, jumping from one venture to the next, basically nonstop. Didn't really stop to smell the roses, because she always wanted to be the best. From what I read, everything she had to be the best. So she worked day in, day out to be the best at everything. And from my research, it was a little bit taxing on her. I don't know how much of that played a role into her taking her own life, but I know it had some minute role in that, and that has pretty much sparked this episode that we're doing today, because we want to speak on boundaries in correlation to mental health and how that's beneficial for one's own mental stability and one's own mental what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah. Yeah.
Overall
wellness. Yes, absolutely.
I just want to make one point about sometimes working a lot is a symptom of depression.
Come on, man.
It's also sometimes how people cope with whatever it is that's triggering them to be sad. Some people just rather. Sorry about that. I'll move a little closer. Some people rather keep themselves busy, because when they're not busy, their mind wanders, and it puts them in a space that makes them uncomfortable. So it gets overwhelming. So I don't know what all she was going through. Nobody knows that but her. Unfortunately, she felt like that was the only thing that she can do to relieve her, whatever it was that she was going through.
That's and I'm so glad you said that. I was trying to find the right time to insert that in there, because that's exactly what it looks like, and in my times when I'm feeling I live by myself now. Sometimes I don't even want to go home. I try to find something to make myself, even though I got 2 jobs and I'm moving around, I try to find things to not go home and have to deal with my thoughts sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time, because sometimes I still go home and get busy or whatever. But a lot of times, bro, I stay away from my apartment because I don't want to be at home in my own thoughts. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So I totally get her trying to keep herself busy and just do all that she can to not have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying, within her head. So, whew.
Yeah, that's tough.
Extremely, man.
I mean, we've all dealt with that. When you have some time to reflect on certain things and you're alone with your own thoughts, you start second guessing yourself and things of that nature. And that
and all
it can creep in quickly when you're by yourself.
Yep.
So I do understand trying to stay busy when it comes to that, but shit, man.
I don't want to scare nobody. Just because you out there being busy and taking on the world does not necessarily mean that you're depressed. It also don't mean that you're not.
Right.
But don't start to self-diagnose yourself.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of depression either. I like to explain it as it's kind of on a spectrum. I feel like everybody at some point have dealt with a version of depression, but it's not the end all be all. It's not something to be afraid of or to be embarrassed about. Everybody experiences emotions in their own way, and it's okay. It's better to just say, hey, I'm experiencing this right now. I need a break or I need some help.
Yeah.
That's what's really important, and to just be aware of whoever your dynamic is. Be aware of the little changes that are going on and check on your people.
Yeah.
Especially your strong people. We always, neglect to check on those that we held at a certain standard because it's no, they always got it together. Those are the ones you need to check on the most.
Yeah.
And that's a great leader into boundaries. Like you say, you just have to be able to say, hey, I need a break, or hey, I need that. And I don't think that I think that we all have an idea of what boundaries is. but there's like so many parts to boundaries. So I'll ask you, because you're the residential expert today.
Residential.
As it pertains, she is. She's the resident. We don't know shit about that. She's the therapist. So as it pertains to mental health, what are boundaries and why are they so important? Like,
so in general, boundaries have to do with just your emotional and mental wellness. So they're tied to things that are important to you. So whenever you feel like you're a little shaken by something, more than likely your boundary is being pushed a little bit. So why that's important is because things like depression and anxiety, they feed off of when your boundaries are out of whack. Mm-hmm. So really being in tune with what's important to you, what is a value of yours, will help you develop and build healthy boundaries. So there are really 3 different types of boundaries. So boundaries can be really strong, which is not healthy. Mm-hmm. They can be weak, or we call them porous, which is not healthy. Mm-hmm. And then there's healthy boundaries. So people think just not being able to say no is the only boundary, but no, people who say no all the time is also a boundary. Like that's also an unhealthy boundary. But it's just for your overall wellness with your relationships and with yourself. Healthy boundaries are super important.
I'm glad that you said healthy boundaries, and I know we got an outline, but you just dissected that perfectly. You got healthy boundaries is what we truly need. Mm-hmm. There are some people who set these extremely hard boundaries. How do you man? Is that too Can you just dive into that? Like, is it too much? When does that hard boundary just turn into like an insecurity, or you're just overdoing it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know me. I value my time. Like, I've grown to do that, but that's a boundary of mine at this point. But I know I can't be too hard with it. Like, if somebody calls me and they absolutely need my help, and I can't, nah, you cutting into my time. You got to go help them. Why do you think people do that? Do you think that it comes from insecurity, or you think that this is just, I got to stick to my guns and, just overdoing it?
I'm going to drop a big word, and I don't want to get too much into it, but I feel like whenever people have weak or overly strong boundaries, it's tied to some sort of trauma. Mm-hmm. So it's something that they've experienced in their life either once or multiple times that has really tied them to this specific thing that, they react and it follows them, and they're continuing to react. So it varies from person to person. Is it an insecurity? For some, it may be. I don't think it's that black and white. It really is just dependent on that individual and whatever has brought them to that response.
Gotcha.
All I hear is that we just got so much individual work to do, and it's crazy to think how we don't do that individual work as much as we really need to, because we there's so much going on. We mask so much stuff. Yeah, it's like that, and that's why I hate going home, because when I go home, I'm left to my thoughts, and I unmask so many different things. It's like, damn, you got so much work to do, nigga, to really get to where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? To have those healthy boundaries, because I'm the opposite. I have weak boundaries. So my thing is not being able to say no to people, right? At all. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll share a story. One time I went to I was at Chula's. I just stopped at Chula's, you know what I'm saying, on the way home from work, and I'm sitting there drinking. I planned on just having a couple, but I was sitting next to this dude, and he made it a point. I had my earpods in and everything. He made it a point to say something to me. So we started talking. He was asking me all these different questions, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the dude was cool. Well, the security guard that was there came over and told me to take my hoodie off because I had my hood on. It was cold. He told me to take my hoodie off, and I'm like, okay. I took it off, but I'm at the same time I asked him why. I'm cold. And he was like, well, you have to be identifiable, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But somehow the security guard was being too stern with me, I was trying to not comply with what he was saying. So I'm like, relax, man. I took it off. I'm just asking you a question. Like, is it wrong for me to ask you a question about whatever? So then the guy that I'm sitting next to starts reaffirming me, like, hey, you good, bro? Like, you're a good person, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting next to this dude. I'm like, okay. I'm usually in situations where when I'm drinking and something like that happens, y'all know, like, it's like, Ray, chill. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. Well, now this dude is like reassuring me that it's not my fault. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me stay a little longer and hang out with him. Then he's like, hey, well, you want to go somewhere different? I'm like, cool. Yeah, we can go somewhere different. Even though I knew the plan was just to have a couple, but because this dude was affirming me, I said, yeah, let's go somewhere different. We went somewhere different, blah, whatever. So that's me that's like that trauma of mine. Like you said, showing up in that moment and me not being able to establish that boundary. Like, nah, bro, I'm going to go home. But because this dude was affirming me, and in past situations, I haven't been affirmed that I was right or whatever, it led me to stay with him a little bit longer.
Yeah, he gave you a gold star and you jumped on it.
So
Okay,
you
yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
he made you more secure about your choices?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
So
Yeah.
that would speak to what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we think that boundaries are tied to an insecurity?
Mm-hmm. That like I said, all like you said, it's like it's not black and white. It's like literally all of it that you really have to like diagnose, like do some work on yourself to really figure it out.
And they're really mixed. Like, you may have really good boundaries with other people, like outside people who are not in your mix all the time, and have really bad boundaries with family, friends, or you might have really good boundaries with family and bad boundaries with friends. It could be all of that at once, and it's not just related to people either. Time, money, your intellectual ability, your job, like all of those are part of boundaries.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because that leads me into my next question. How do you set boundaries with the people that you love? Because we were talking about, family. You just brought up family. So, like, how do you do that with people that you love when you know you want to, bend over backwards for certain folks, but, but that could be at the detriment of yourself and your own well-being. So how do you go about setting those boundaries without actually offending your family or, making it look like you're being selfish? Because I know I get labeled as selfish sometimes when I say no, but I feel like that's a healthy boundary for me because I don't say no to everything. But if it affects me, if when I say no, it's something that you want me to do that I just don't want to do, or I'm not in the position to do, so I'm not finna bend over backwards for it if I don't have to. Because if I bend over backwards, whose back is breaking? Mine. You know what I'm saying? So how do you go about setting those boundaries with your people?
I feel like that's like one of the toughest things to do. I'm black, so I can only talk about, black folks.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
within our community because, we come from a group where we're communal, so we depend on each other, right? Hopefully people have that with them. It's a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing. But it all comes down to you. Like, you have to really take a moment to self-evaluate and ask yourself, okay, is this something that is hurting me? And hurt, I don't mean it as deep as like you in pain, but is it stopping you from progressing? Is it interfering with whatever your goals are? Is it creating some sort of distress? And if it is, then asking yourself, okay, how much am I willing to take? Because boundaries are about a give and take. I don't want to use the word compromise because you should never compromise yourself.
Yeah.
But there are some moments where I can give a little and I could take a little bit. But that's not necessarily compromising because it's all within your realm of comfortability.
Yeah.
So once you do that self-inventory, then it's about putting your foot down, and that's hard to do. And that's not an easy answer. It's not the right answer. It's not a perfect answer, I'll say. Sometimes you just got to put your foot down.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's really hard to do, especially with family, with parents. It's super hard to do. But being open to a conversation too.
Yeah.
So it's about how are you introducing this boundary? are they just asking you a question like, no, I ain't hearing it.
Yeah.
Then that's not, that's not the most healthy way to introduce something. Like, sometimes we got to, like, explain it a little bit. You owe that to yourself to say, hey, like, this is my reasoning. I don't love you any less. I'm still here for you. But in this time, in this moment, this is the answer.
Yeah.
Will it change later? Maybe, probably not. But, like, really just having those conversations and picking the right time to have the conversation, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony. Because he remember in college when we was wilding out and he said "fuck us."
Oh yeah.
And he just
didn't say nothing.
Yeah, he just didn't say nothing. He didn't say like, "Man, y'all doing too much. I can't. I'm trying to get out of school."
Okay.
You just cut up. Yeah, you just.
But I was young, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't know no better.
Yeah,
I didn't know any better. I
like,
was
what's
young.
wrong with Tony, bro?
Like,
But we were fuck. We were.
But if this was, I was getting ready to graduate, but I was young, bro. I didn't know the proper communication I needed to have. I just like it's more than just y'all two, but y'all were the ones that I dealt with often. There were some other people I cut off too. I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to graduate. I wouldn't do that now though. I know how to have that talk and say, hey, fam, y'all niggas doing too much, fam. I got something I'm trying to do. Like I know how to have that talk now. I know how to have that communication. That just, it comes from experience, bro. But when you fucking 20, like my guy, I don't know no better. 2021, fam, we young. Hell, I couldn't wait to graduate so I can go back out there and do some old dumb shit again. I just wanted to get this graduation out the way.
And it made sense, man. Like she said, like you got to do, your self. What you say? Self
inventory.
Self inventory. Yeah. Once you, my bad, y'all. Yeah, all that. Yeah. And then you had. Obviously, you saw that what we were doing was a bit of a detriment, or it was in the way of. You couldn't be doing what we were doing and still graduate, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
That would have been
what I'm saying?
hard,
yeah. So, I get it. Hindsight, man, now that we're older, of course we get it or whatever, but, conversation would have been.
Would have been best. Hey, it would have been best.
One thing that I find is detrimental to any relationship is because we're around people a lot, or we grew up with them, or they love us indefinitely or whatever, we expect them to already know certain things. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair. Mm-hmm. Like, it is not fair. Like, you can't expect your mother to know how you're responding because she raised you and know your personality. You can't expect your spouse to know just because they've been around you enough, or expect them to just accept something because they love you.
Yeah.
You have to have a conversation about whatever is going on, whatever decision you're choosing to make, cutting people off, whatever it is, you have to have a conversation about it if you value those relationships. Because otherwise, you're going to get a response from them too. Mm-hmm. And then it creates a cycle of these interactions that make you uncomfortable, make them uncomfortable, and keep having these negative emotions. Yeah. And then y'all are responding to that. So...
I was listening to this I forget her name, this black chick. She was doing a podcast about boundaries, and she was saying, well, this English lady was like interviewing her basically, and the English lady asked her, she's like, what happens when two boundaries clash? Like, the example that she gave was in a marriage, like the woman grew up with her mom like making up her bed. Her mom made her make up the bed. That's the first thing they did in the morning. Where her husband, mom didn't care if he made up the bed growing up, right? So now they're together. The wife is like pissed off at him because he just doing what he already has known his entire life, not making the bed up. But she like, nigga, make the bed up when you get out of it. And so it's a constant clash for them. How do you deal with that? Like what drives your decision to like keep harking on him not making the bed up, or like, all right, whatever, fuck it. I know you ain't making the bed up. This is like a stage for us. We just got to figure this out, right? Where's that like compromise?
Man, breezy. Make the bed. I'm not making no beds. If I don't make beds, bro, I just don't. You married a nigga that don't make beds. Like, if you get to that point where you marry somebody like that, bro, just make the bed.
But where do you step in as like, that's her boundary. You want her to respect your boundary. Where do you step in? Like, you know what? I love you. I'm tired of arguing. I'm not gonna make the bed up every day, but some days I'm gonna try. You know what I'm saying?
Is that a boundary though? Is making the bed the boundary? Like I think getting to the root of what the issue is, because it's not making the bed.
Might be cleaning.
That's not the boundary.
Or being clean.
No, the boundary is I can speak clearly on that. And it's not even about making the bed. And I know what she's getting at. The boundary is really, hey, this is what I like to do. This is what I don't like to do. How do we figure this out? Mm-hmm. That is just that simple. How do we figure this out? Hey, I'm not gonna make this bed every day. Mm-hmm. You already know that. Well, I'm gonna make my bed every day. Okay, cool. So look, we both sleeping in the same bed. Make the bed. Now, there may be something else that I need to do. There, like when you start talking about marriage, it's give and take, fam. Like it just really is. Like in any relationship, homeboys, marriage, siblings, parents, is give and take. Like you're never gonna have it all completely your way. You're gonna have to say, okay, I'm going to have to make the bed behind this man because he wasn't raised like that. And you as a man, you're going to have to say, oh, I'm going to have to do X, Y, Z because she wasn't raised like that. It's just that simple. Mm-hmm. But you got to have a conversation. You got to have that communication to figure it out.
Get to the root.
Yep.
Because a lot of times when we do have conversations, we're focusing on the surface issue. Like, you didn't wash the dishes or you ain't take out the trash or whatever the case is. And it's like, those are the obvious things, right? But it's something else that's causing a person to focus on this thing. So if it's, I don't feel like you're respecting me by leaving the dishes in after I go to work all the time, or I'm up at 8 o'clock and you're still in bed knowing that I have stuff to do and I want to make the bed. 'Cause I like a clean bed when I start my day.
Yeah.
So like, getting to the root of the issue helps you identify what the boundary that's being crossed, if there is one. Because sometimes that's not really the boundary. It's just there's an issue that we need to solve. And we spend a lot of times focusing on the thing and not the root of it, or the flower and not the root. And that's not going to get you nowhere, because what's going to happen? We're going to trim the flower. It's going to grow back.
Yeah.
That was live.
Yeah. So, what about, so for those who don't set boundaries, do you guys think that is a sign of low self-esteem?
I think so. You called it, what is it, pores boundary?
Pores.
Yeah.
Pores boundary. I think so. I think that's a sign of low self-esteem. But it's not the only sign, but I do think low self-esteem is in there somewhere. Because think about it. If I say, hey, you're not going to do this, and you say, yeah, I am. I'm like, damn, all right, yeah, he is. Like, my nigga, with your self-esteem, man, my nigga, put your foot down, dog. Don't let nobody, I think when people allow people to just jump over their boundaries, I think that is a sign of low self-esteem, low sign of strength as well. Like there's a bunch of things. Yeah, but I do think is low self-esteem. Like, fam, if I have a high self-esteem, if I'm very confident in myself, if I put my foot down, there is no Kunta Kinte, fam. You're not chopping my foot off. Like, my nigga, my foot is down and I'm not doing it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I think it's like a mix. I think it can be, low self-esteem, but I think in some instances it's just, I don't know, it's just tough to be able to make that decision, especially like family, people you care about, people you love. It's literally just tough to make that decision. But for sure, in some instances, it's definitely low self-esteem.
Well, I'm saying, like, I'm talking about, I think Steve is saying a person that just has pores boundaries, period. Like, not, I got a healthy boundary over here with Steve. I got a healthy boundary with you, but for Marcus and Adrian, it's just pores boundary. Like, I just say, yeah, niggas, y'all do whatever. You know what I'm saying? No. I think Steve is saying pores all the way around. Somebody that just doesn't have a healthy boundary at all.
And someone that doesn't establish them at all. That's who I'm speaking on.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Like, for those who cannot establish any type of boundaries or basically uphold them, if they do establish them, those are, is that a sign of,
low self-esteem?
Low self-esteem and not non-assertiveness and things of that nature?
I've been really thinking on that question since we had the little outline.
Yeah.
I've been really thinking on, like, are boundaries related to self-esteem? For one, I don't think anybody doesn't have any boundaries.
Yeah.
Everybody has some level of boundary. They might not be aware of it, but everybody has a boundary. It might not be a healthy boundary, but everybody has some sort of boundary. I think that there are some boundaries that may be related to self-esteem, but I don't think that it's fair to say that you have low self-esteem if you have poor boundaries, because I think people who have low self-esteem also have high boundaries. Like, they have really rigid boundaries. Like, if we think about sexual boundaries, for example, right? Somebody who may not be happy with their body might be very rigid about what they will do sexually, because, you know, they're uncomfortable with
That's
themselves.
a good point. Yeah.
So I don't think that it really relates to esteem as it just relates to just whatever they value and whatever experience that they've gone through that influences that value.
That makes perfect sense. I said it's not because, like I said, I think that I have in a few situations like porous boundaries. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't say that I wouldn't classify myself as having low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I have high self-esteem 80% of the time. 20% of the time I probably have low self-esteem, but 80% of the time I have high self-esteem.
Dude, 80%?
115% of the time.
Like, why he
got
gassing, bro?
Like
Like,
80% of the
But
time.
he come in the room be like, I look better than all these niggas in here. Like, fam, your self-esteem.
But that's just me being.
That can be an example of somebody with low self-esteem.
Yep.
Ooh. Well, let me shut up.
One thing we have to do is take a step back on I don't want to use the word judge, but making assumptions on how people present themselves.
Right. Okay. It's just it's like with Chris with the chick. It's like it's a mask, bro. Like, a lot of people. That's why I get upset when people say I'm arrogant. I'm like, I'm far from being arrogant. I'm really just doing this to keep myself
afloat.
Yeah, like I know what y'all think about me. I know y'all looking at me like, oh, this light skinned curly hair nigga. He just think he all that. It's like,
nobody talking about the curls, bro. Chill out.
You love to talk about the curls.
We're not talking about the High School Musical curls, bro.
He was waiting to
We're
throw
not
it.
talking about those goddamn curls, bro.
I set you up. I gave you the pick.
Light
I knew you
nigga
were.
with the hair all wavy.
Yeah. You don't get your Jufro head ass up out of here, bro. Nobody talking about them damn curls, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You was way. I set the pick for you. I'm glad you rolled.
Go
But
ahead,
nah,
man.
it's just it's literally just a mask as to where, most people make those assumptions like, oh, everything is good. He feeling himself, da 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 da. Well, inside I'm like, fuck, nigga. Like, no, I'm not. You just don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if we being transparent on here, and I've noticed something about you that you seem to be insecure about, that you bring up all the time, but you don't talk to us about it. And then that's the fact that you didn't finish school at Prairie View.
I did.
But we have not had that conversation. However, on this podcast, you make it a point to say I didn't finish, and you've said that routinely. But I can see it. I can see it bothers you somewhat, but it's never been a conversation that you've actually initiated. Like, man, I feel type of way. Like, my boys got done, but I didn't get done. So I'm just being transparent about that. So, like, it's just like we were talking about, like, actually talking and actually communicating with folks when you are alone with your thoughts and things of that nature. And I think, like, if we had that conversation about that, it would be less taxing on you if you actually talk to us about it. You know what I'm saying?
So,
and I didn't mean to jump into something
Hold on.
totally
you
different.
good.
Yeah.
Y'all know
I'm actually glad. So, two things earlier when you just called me out, like, man, you could have said something to us. Like, I hope that, like, the young niggas that actually watch us and pay attention, I'm hoping that y'all have that conversation with your boys when you feel like, hey, I got to stop hanging with them because I'm trying to get somewhere and they not. Have that conversation, because I think if I'd have had that conversation, all three of us probably would have graduated. I think it would have been a point to say, all right, it probably wouldn't have happened, at the same time. But I do feel like if I'd have said, hey, man, We partying too damn much.
Yeah.
We doing X, Y, Z. My nigga, we here to graduate. Like, let's get the ball rolling. It probably would have changed some things in our mental process and say, all right, you're right, my nigga. Let's cut back on this partying and let's try to graduate. Yeah. So at the end of the day, have that conversation. It may be uncomfortable. You may not even be thinking about it. But if you pay attention to this podcast, soak up some game, holler at your boys when you feel like y'all not on track to meet certain goals.
Yeah.
I think did you want to respond to what he was saying?
Yeah, my bad, bro.
No, you good. That was important. It's man, we having a conversation.
I have
so
a comment about that, but I want to give you your space to respond.
Well, with the school thing, I think the school thing is internal. I don't even know if it's something that we could have a conversation about, and I would feel different about it. You know what I'm saying? Because society has deemed it that if you don't graduate, then you ain't shit. It makes and it's so stupid that I let it bother me because I make more money than a lot of the niggas who did graduate school. So it's like
true.
It's so stupid for me to allow that to bother me. But I feel like for me, it's a goal that I was. It was me starting something and I didn't finish it. I think that's what's most important for me. Okay. It's not even about the paper. It's just that, damn, nigga, something else that you started and you didn't finish, and this one's like super important. You know what I mean?
Boom. That's big. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. You good.
That makes tons of sense.
Oh yeah, all these conversations I have with my therapist all the time. So it's like it's things that I know. It's just tough to like put it in. That's why I say those boundaries is like you can know you need to set a boundary, but it's still
so hard to do it.
Hard to do.
And for me, it's even worse because I don't know a stranger. So like, I'm just like whatever for everybody, but then I end up fucking myself in the long run. But it's a constant. It's a constant battle. So
yeah, man. If you need somebody to say no for you, I'm good at it, bro.
We know.
I'm good at it. That's what I do. I do that for my mama right now.
Yeah.
Family members, I need $2,000. No, fuck no. You ain't getting that from my mama. Hell no. But yeah, if you want to respond, you can go.
Yeah,
ahead.
I just want to make a comment about what you were saying about having those conversations with your friends, because I think there's a narrative going around now with people who are movers and shakers, right? About sometimes, like, there are people in your circle you need to let go of, right? Which I don't disagree with. However, that is not the best. Like, just saying that blanket statement is not cool.
Yeah.
Because what you end up doing is isolating yourself from people who really do got the best. They have good intentions for you. Not everybody in your circle has good intentions for you, but it doesn't mean that everybody in your circle is against you either. So having that awareness to say who's important to me right now and who do I think will be important to me in the long run, and then having those conversations with those people. Some people you do need to cut off. But again, it's about awareness. It's about reflecting on whatever's going around you and saying, okay, these are my partners. I care about them. They show me that they care about me. All right, we in this for the long run. Okay, we gonna have these conversations so that we can all progress. And then you have to also be okay with those who don't receive it. There's gonna be people in your circle who's not gonna receive it. Doesn't mean that they bad people, but it's like, all right, you ain't ready for that. Yeah. So when you're ready, the door is open. But right now, I gotta keep it moving.
And I think we all been through that. Where it was a boundary that was being set from a friend, and we didn't receive it well, or we thought this was they were trying to demean us or come at us weak, as we say. You know what I'm saying? Like,
coming at me weak,
what
bro.
you mean? What you mean by this?
Relax.
But after careful considerations, you got to understand like why your boys do some of the things that they do. Because I know you and I have had that conversation as well
100%.
About our friendship. We've talked about our friendship and the dynamic that Ray has with me, and in comparison to all
of us.
All of us. You know what I'm saying? And some things, like Ray said, Ray can't say no. And since Ray can't say no, I think, and it's kind of like my mom too, since she's always there for her, she bends over backwards. She expects that from other people. She expects everybody to respond in the same manner that she does. What? And I try to explain, like, you're Ray Matthews. I'm Stephen Riley.
Right.
I feel like I'm about as loyal a partner as anybody. You know what I'm saying? But there are certain situations that I'm not going to respond in the same way, and that's only due to my own individuality. And I don't want you to hold that against me because I'm being Stephen. Because Stephen is the reason. Me being me is the reason why we so close in the first place.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So don't even look. Don't look at it like, man, it's a bad thing that I'm being how I am. Just understand and accept that certain things, ways that I respond to certain things is just me being me. Now, like I said before, I mean, we've talked about it before.
I was going to say we had these conversations.
We've had these conversations. I know certain aspects of my life I can improve. Everybody.
Right.
But still, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta
Don't look at me, fam.
My bus.
Don't look at me, guys.
You ready to say it?
My bus, man.
But we don't have those, and we didn't have those conversations like that growing up.
No,
We've just recently decided, or not decided, known that we need to have those conversations. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's okay that we different. That's what makes our friendship so good. Is like opposites attract like magnets. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes it good. I pick little stuff from you. You pick little stuff from me.
Yep.
Somewhere we meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Some shit we just not gonna meet in the middle on. You know what I'm saying? And it's gotta be okay. That's cool. That's just who you are. So yeah, we just don't have those conversations though. We scared of those conversations. We scared of what it would look like for us on the other side of whatever the conflict is. So
I think you brought up an important point about like not having conversations when you're growing up. Because to me, that speaks back to the question that you asked earlier about like setting boundaries with loved ones, right? You are not responsible for whatever it was that you grew up in, right? And you are not, and you don't have to carry that with you. So whatever situation you grew up with at home does not dictate who you are as an adult. So you gotta, again, it goes back to some awareness and self-reflection, because you have to like look at that and say, did that sit right with me? Just because my mama told me to shut up and sit down somewhere, like, did that sit right with me? For some people, that is like the start of those porous boundaries. So really like identifying that and how that affects you, and how that affects your relationships with your loved ones can help begin those conversations.
Yeah. Man.
yeah, this is
Man, this. Go ahead. No, my bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nah, y'all good because this,
this
spitting over here,
man,
spitting. It's always good to have a therapist in the building. I'm already learning a whole bunch of other shit about myself.
Man. So spitting that, what's they call it? Spitting that real.
Hot fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Hot fire.
Go ahead, Tom.
So I'm a person that likes to deal in solutions. No sense of talking about issues without providing solutions. So 2 questions. For somebody that is setting too much of a hard boundaries, how would you try to get them to get to a healthy boundary? And for somebody that has porous boundaries, how would you get them to a healthy boundary?
Are those both your questions?
Yes.
Okay, great, because it's the same answer. It starts with reflection. Like, that's just it. Like, sitting down and saying, okay, what is causing me stress? What's causing me anxiety? What's making me uncomfortable right now in my life? And just really just sitting down and thinking about that and just sitting in that for a moment. And once you identify those things, then you can identify, okay, what needs to be a boundary for me where it's like, all right, no, like I have to set something in place, because if I don't, I'm going to continue going on this emotional roller coaster. And then some things is just like, that's not even worth my energy. Yeah. Sometimes we're putting too much energy into it that's causing us distress. Yeah. So identifying what is a hard line for you because it's a value that's being interrupted versus something that I'm just putting too much emotion in and it's worth me leaving alone and I'm gonna do that. And that is the process of you starting to do that. And it starts with you. So once you're able to do that, then you can start having those conversations with the people, the stakeholders, because it's not just people. Sometimes, like I say, it's jobs. Sometimes it's other things. You can start doing those, having those conversations with the stakeholders to affirm those boundaries.
Spit that real.
Huh? Boy, yeah.
I had a client once who her biggest issue was stuff at work, and she had started a new job, and she loved the job, but she was so stressed all the time about different things. I'm like, okay, well, what is your role? What is your responsibility at work? We went through all of that. She started talking about all the stuff that they were expecting her to do. It's like, you need to remind them what your role is. If you need to bring out the job's description and it's like, here, like, this is what I signed up to do. This is what you're paying me to do. Then you need to do that because that is within your contract. And that's a hard conversation to have too, but unless you're paying me more, then I'm not going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised, like, how people respond to stuff. And some stuff you have more control over than others, but have those conversations.
Yeah. Have those conversations.
We just let it build up, and then it comes out negatively. Like, God damn, you got me doing all of this stuff and blah 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 blah. Instead of just saying, hey, look, this is my job description. This is what you pay me for. If you want me to do more, then give me some more bread.
Right.
Yeah. Tony D. What you want to leave the people with today, man?
Number one, man, everybody take some time to self-reflect and figure out what triggers you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. Figure that out. After you figure that out, man, don't be scared to have the tough conversations. Like, don't be scared to. It may be hard. And I know it's hard because I have a hard time having some of those hard conversations too. But they have to happen if you want to establish a healthy boundary. That's what I got out of the day.
Okay. What about you, Jufro? Oh no! I mean, no, juice fro. Didn't mean it like. Hold on, I didn't mean it like that.
We're about to get flagged. We're about to get flagged.
I mean, not damn shit.
It's okay.
Juice fro. Sorry.
See, now you crossing my boundaries. I just want to know how much you charging these people for this free game, because I don't have nothing to say. It's all been said. You blessed. You, man, listen. Y'all need to send some money to the
podcast.
Yeah, because she just blessed the game for free.
Yeah, we'll slide a little piece of that, bro. If y'all want to, you know what I'm saying, bless the podcast, we'll bless her with. What do you want to leave the people with today, Brianna?
Just that I hope people really do take a moment for themselves, especially these last few years have been difficult for everybody, and people have been forced to sit down to deal with some things. So this is the season for you to grow and mature and water whatever soil and foundation you're putting down for yourself. And it starts, for me, I preach this a lot, it starts with self-awareness and reflection. So if you don't take anything away from this, just take away to spend some time with yourself and evaluating what's important to you and what you need to do to move forward in your life.
Nice. And tell the people where they can find you.
Like I said, you can find me at pausehome.com, or you can find me on Instagram at More Than Basic Therapy.
Yeah, we got to double up on that so people can know, man.
Yeah,
bro, we got to double up. Hey, you got to plug.
Yeah,
shameless plug.
You can't have too many.
You can't have too many plugs. Can't have too many plugs.
Straight up.
Okay. Well, what I'm gonna leave y'all with.
Here we go.
Is for you guys that are my skin tone, help set a boundary for the number of light skinned niggas that you deal with, because they are habitual boundary steppers.
Wow.
Especially this light skinned nigga with the extra, you know what I'm saying?
You saying
so set a boundary with the amount of light skinned niggas you deal with.
And doing exactly what he's saying. Set a boundary because you're a habitual nigga. You are the habitual line stepper.
Like, I was like,
it's you.
My skin tone don't allow me to be in that little category,
Okay.
bro.
I'm gonna be honest. Nobody has benefited more from his relationship with this light skinned nigga more than you.
What?
When I met your ass, you was bare broke and naked. Now you won't have. Playing muscle shirts and do rags around PV.
That is true.
Getting the breezies with
we
that,
had to spice you up a little bit,
bro.
Yeah,
That's when I was chiseled though, bro.
Yeah, you was going out for your physique.
That was when 50 Cent came out.
Yeah.
I was now. You know what I'm
Wife
saying?
beater, basketball, basic nigga.
shorts.
I wish Adrian could chime in on this because nobody knows.
Explode on.
I definitely thought that I was gonna go into. I remember the first time I went to your room freshman year. I thought I was gonna go into like a Hey Arnold situation where you had nothing but muscle shirts hanging up. I was surprised that you had real clothes. I was like, but then I was like,
because that nigga Adrian came in that hole like, nigga, you got polos? Like, yeah, I got polos. Like, why don't wear this shit? This shit's in your car. You don't wear this shit. Like, nah, nigga, dream shorts and wife beaters. Straight to the MSC, boy. We in that hole.
Steve look like that nigga from Boys of the Hood. Hey, bro, get a little nigga his balls back.
Man, the whole time, but that nigga was chubby though. I was in good shape, bro. Don't call me weak like that, bro. I was in good shape, fam. Get y'all, bro. See, that's why I say, dog, don't deal with these light skinned niggas.
You started
man.
this, fam.
Man, what you point? All right,
You started this. Did we say anything about Steve?
nothing.
man. Fuck y'all.
Ma'am,
Excuse
did we
my
say
language.
anything about him? No. See,
That nigga was saying,
Did you say no?
He was polite,
No.
ma'am.
What the hell was this?
and she said no.
Whatever.
Brianna says you're an innocent bystander.
Yeah, she's just
But
chilling.
she telling the truth.
She's just chilling.
That's it.
Nah, but we do appreciate you coming on the show today.
100.
This was
Indeed,
definitely informative, and I ain't gonna lie, I would love to have you back later on this season if time allows, for sure. We can tackle this a different way, for sure. Y'all, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, man. Hey, and also check out the IG page. That's Millennial Mayhem HOU, and the HOU stands for H Time. You know what I'm saying? Repping for the third coast, baby. You know what I'm saying? Stay down. Catch y'all next time, man. Peace out.
Deuces.
I ain't got time for the bull. Okay, all my niggas riding gas tank on bull. We be fresh than a bitch. Yeah, your bitch might get bulled. If you see us in the streets, no talking, let's go. No time for hating. I ain't got time for the bull. I ain't got time for the bull.